Hello, welcome to Grief and Loss Across the Lifespan. My name is Dr. Silvestro. I will be the instructor for this course, and this video is just meant to be a brief overview to the class. We'll look in Canvas for a second, and we'll also go over the syllabus. So as I said, this class is, of course, a class that is focused on losses in life and the grief that we experience as a result of those losses. When I say grief, most people immediately think about bereavement, which is losing someone because they have died. But a major focus of this class is looking not only at bereavement, but the many types of losses that we will experience in our lives. Another major goal that I have for students in this class is to just get more comfortable talking about these topics. Grief and loss can be taboo. People are nervous to talk about them. So in this class, I just hope that being exposed to this content gives you more confidence in approaching those topics, both with yourself and in your possible careers. This is a very informative and reflective class. So some other things to note. This course has graduate and undergraduate students. It's also going to have students that have different career trajectories. So one thing that I always try to keep in mind with the different assignments is I try to make this a very customizable course so that you can find ways to do the assignments in a way that they're going to benefit you in whatever your career trajectory is. But as I said, grief is such a part of life that I think this can be useful for someone with almost any type of career background. A bit more about me, just quickly. So my background is as a mental health counselor, and of course, when I was working with clients, grief is a part of life, so it was something that came up a lot. But what really crystallized my love of kind of grief topics and doing grief work was working at a cancer hospital and working with patients and their families as they were going through cancer treatment, processing and responding to their diagnosis. I think that's really what helped me see for the first time that grief is really everywhere, because maybe some of these people maybe lost their lives eventually to their cancer diagnosis, but a lot didn't. But they still came with losses as, loss of function, loss of the person they felt like they used to be. There could be changes in relationships as a result of their cancer diagnosis, etc. I won't go on about that much more because I'll talk about that more this semester, but I just think that grief and understanding grief is just a really important skill to have and a great asset to anyone. So that will be the focus of this class, grief. So let's quickly let's take a look in Canvas and see what is up there. All right, so in Canvas, this is going to be our course, HSR 574. Just quickly with Canvas, I don't think there's a lot I have to say, but you should always be able to find everything organized under modules. I try to keep things nicely organized and in order. You'll see every module and a couple things. The module will always open up Tuesday at 4, and everything is going to be due no later than the next Monday at 11:59 p.m. I try to give people enough time because I know you all have different schedules. When you're taking an online class, there are different times that you may have available. That should provide you enough time every week to get things done. I do not allow people to work ahead in the class, and there are several reasons for that. The first being is I design every class that I teach to be very interactive. A discussion board is always a really important part of that experience, and so I want the class to stick together as they are going through it. This content also builds on top of itself, and I think it's content that you need to reflect on. So that's just a couple of things to keep in mind. But again, you have 6 days to complete the course content. That should be more than enough. If you ever have issues and are can't get things done on time, just please reach out to me as your instructor. Every week you'll kind of always go in and you'll find a video from me, which I'll be uploading here, some different content, and then I'll always have a discussion board, etc. So again, navigating through modules is going to be your best bet, and that's also where you can find the syllabus. So let's go ahead and open that up and briefly look through it. All right, here's our syllabi. Again, I'm just going to do a brief overview, but I encourage you to please look through this document. We prepare it carefully. It's kind of like the Bible for the class, so do look at this document. Obviously, this is going to be an online course, and my name is Dr. Haley Silvestro. Here's my contact information. Now, obviously, with the pandemic, for the last couple years, being in the office with my phone can be hit or miss, but I'm always checking my email. So if you need to meet with me, or if you want to talk with me, please email me. I am addicted to my email and my phone like everybody else, and I will absolutely get back to you. Talk about the purpose of the course, etc. Let me talk about the book. So the book is Living Through Loss, Interventions Across the Lifespan. It is actually a brand new edition that was published just in 2021, and so I look forward to seeing how they do that updates. I will say in the last edition of the text, I think it's a good text. It can be dry at times, so hopefully I try to bring in other videos and content that can bring it a little more life, but it does really meet our needs in kind of doing a survey of different types of losses that people can experience. And something else that I would mention is that if you are an undergrad or graduate student who's going into any type of clinical work with mental health or behavioral populations, or you're in healthcare, there are some nice chapters on intervention. I'm not going to go too deeply into intervention in this class because, again, this is kind of a survey class, but it has good content if that is work that you want to do. And I also have other recommendations I could give you, for example, if you're going to be doing grief therapy of any kind. So again, it's an online class, which means that I encourage you to check into class several times a week. You do need to check into class by Thursday at 5 p.m. of this week to be counted. That is just a university policy, but all you have to do is pop in on Canvas. Canvas will let me know that you were there. Some other things, I am good about getting back to people within 24 hours during the work week. During the weekend, I say 48 hours, which basically means I may or may not get back to you. Most of the time I will, but you know, what if Dr. Sylvester is camping? She sometimes goes out into the wilderness and I may not be able to get a hold of you. So just keeping that in mind. Also, if there is an assignment that is due, please try to contact me in advance of 2 days till the assignment due date. It can be stressful as an instructor when you get 10 emails about an assignment that's due in 24 hours. So just try to be aware of what's going on. As I said before, class will open every Tuesday at 4, and assignments will always be due by the following Monday at 11:59 at the latest. You're always welcome to turn things in before that. What are some of your main assignments? That's kind of the big thing I wanted to go over with you, is what can you expect to do this semester. The first is you're going to have discussion board every week. There are going to be different prompts. Sometimes I will write out the prompt. Sometimes the prompt will be hidden in the lecture so that you have to watch the lecture. But usually these classes are going to be reflective on the topic of that week. And another important thing is that as a discussion board, I expect you to respond to the comment of a peer. So I want this to be somewhat of a discussion every week. If you do the post, get in on time, respond to a peer, you can get up to 20 points. If you do not respond to a peer, you can only earn a maximum of 13 points. And then the next block of assignments, you're going to have these 3 papers, and they're kind of going to build on each other through the semester. The first paper is going to be the first thing due in a few weeks in this class, and that's a pop culture paper. And again, I will give more detailed instructions about these assignments before you do them. Another thing to note is that each assignment is going to have different expectations for undergraduate and graduate students. Usually it's going to be a little bit more length for graduate students and what they have to write. As I said, these papers will build off of each other. We'll start simple with you kind of analyzing grief experiences of a character of your choosing through a movie or TV show or novel. And as we go through, your second paper will be a loss interview narrative. You'll talk to someone about a grief experience. By then you would have learned about theory, so I'm going to want you to demonstrate that you understand some theory by applying it there and analyzing their experience. And then your final assignment that you turn in, this will be the last thing you turn in at the end of the semester, will be a personal loss narrative, where you'll talk about your own loss experience using a lot of the factors and through a lot of the lenses we discuss in class, etc. And again, more details will be provided prior to you writing those papers. And the last thing that I would note, I did have one student last semester who said that they didn't feel like they had really much of a loss experience to write about. And after talking with them, we came up with an alternate assignment for them. So if you feel like you might have a hard time writing that paper and an alternate assignment would be more suitable, please talk to me well in advance so that we can work out what that might look like for you. And then lastly, everyone is going to be doing a special topics presentation. This is actually going to be a virtual presentation that you all will publish on YouTube. You'll choose topics around spring break, and then you will turn these in kind of close-ish to the end of the semester, and actually some of our last classes will be you guys watching these presentations and learning about some more specialized grief topics. And really this is just an opportunity for you to really dive into a grief topic that interests you, that you may identify this semester. So that's it. Those are the kind of the major assignments. That's what to expect. You got 850 points on the table. I include the grading scales for undergraduate and graduate because those are slightly different. And then lastly, of course, this is going to be the course schedule. I've laid this course schedule out. Hopefully the color coding helps, but it's going to have the topic every week, what is the reading for that week, and what are the assignments that are due. And again, you can get a good sense of what our schedule is. Our first paper is going to be due February 8th. We're going to have another paper due right before spring break, and by spring break, by the end of spring break, we're going to pick your special topics. We're going to move along to talking about different lifespan losses, and then as I talked about, towards the end of the class, we'll actually have your presentations as the class content, and we'll be looking at presentations. And then we'll wrap up, and of course there's going to be a slight difference this week with moving things back, or this semester with moving things back for COVID. So your final paper will be actually due right after graduation, but you'll be welcome to turn that in early if you wish. Please be sure that you go through these other content where we kind of go over your rights as a student. It's always good to know your rights, but just things that I would, briefly mention. If you do have any accommodations that are needed, be sure that you're working with our accommodations office so that they can let us know as faculty what accommodations you need. And I would also say, I just expect this to be a classroom where we are respectful and supportive of one another. We are going to be talking about heavy topics. I've never had issues in the past, though. Usually students have had really rich discussions and a lot of support and respect there, so that is what I'm expecting. Please, again, read through this syllabus thoroughly. This is going to be your guidebook to this class. If you have questions, it's usually good to go to the syllabus first, but as you have my contact information there, I'm always available if you have questions. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. Some of you I know I've had before, but some of you are new faces, and I'm hoping we have a good semester together. See you guys!